What is up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Your Ex Drinking Buddy with me, your host, Brennan Tassif. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. Full video available there. Check out the merch store. Look at all this stuff. We got all this stuff on the merch store. It's all available on the website, BrennanTComedy.com. You can also get my tour dates there. Every show that I have coming up, I'm going to be in New York, traveling the country, doing a bunch of gigs. So check it out. Get tickets at BrennanTComedy.com. Check out the merch store. And lastly, if you really want to support, go to www.patreon.com/BrennanTComedy. And that is where you can find Tales from the Restaurant, where I divulge everything about the celebrities I wait on. And also a little bit of behind the scenes. You'll also get the episodes early, a bunch of bonus episodes. Check it all out. Thank you so much. Enjoy the episode.
Grab me a beer and grab me a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex drinking buddy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Your Ex Drinking Buddy. I am your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do, hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and then reminisce about those crazy stories. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do, hang out with somebody, reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by guests. This week is no exception. All the way from New York City, Josh Royer.
Hello, everybody. My name is Josh Royer.
What's up, dude?
I'm chilling. I'm doing good. I'm a little tired. I had got like 3 hours of sleep last night.
There you go, right? And then you still showed up early,
And I
like
still
a
showed up
fucking
early.
champion.
I don't mess around.
Before we get too far into anything, plug everything up front. Your social media, anything you got going. This will come out in like 3 weeks. So any shows in August, whatever you got.
Josh R. Royer. So that's 2 R's, Josh R. Royer _ on Instagram. And I perform pretty much every Sunday at the Greenwich Village Comedy Club. Once in a while at Steiny's in Staten Island.
There we go.
I just moved to New York, so I'm still trying to get some shows around here.
Hell yeah.
Comedy Club once in a while.
We kind of met at Greenwich Village. You were doing the bar.
Yeah.
You were working in the back of the bar. I saw you when I came in, but I didn't recognize you, obviously, because you're new to New York. And so I just went about my business, did the spot, and then with the newborn baby, I was like, all right, I'm out of here. And then as I left, Akash, friend of the show, been on the show before, very funny comic, was like, sent me a DM. And he's like, hey, did you meet Josh? And I was like, no. And he goes, you have to have him on your podcast. And then I was like, who the fuck is Josh?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, he was the bartender in the back. He does stand up. And I was like, oh no, I didn't recognize him. I didn't meet him. And he's like, you got to get him on your podcast. And so then he kind of introduced us. But it was one of those things where I've never had someone so adamantly be like, no, you don't understand. For what your show is, you have to have this guy on, which is either a huge red flag or it's a great thing.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, me and Koch talk all the time, and he loves my stories. So
Yeah,
I don't know if he's faking or what, but like he seems to be very entertained by.
Yeah, and that's a thing I realized when I moved to New York too, was I would tell these stories, and just growing up in Florida, that's just kind of how life, you party, you get in trouble, that's just what happens. And people would be like, oh, that's crazy, oh my God, that's nuts. And you're like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, well that was all that there was to do. I grew up in New Hampshire. So
Okay.
That's all there was to do, was get fucked up and like go in the woods and just party and do drugs all the time. And also I used to love to do that. I still like to party, but you know.
Yeah.
I try to tone it down with the
drums.
and,
with the
all that
extracurriculars.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get into it. So first, let's talk about you. You grew up in New Hampshire. You did music before you started doing stand-up.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions I always ask everybody. When did you know you wanted to do something, whether it was musically and then transitioning to stand-up? Because those are kind of niche things. Like everyone wants to be a musician, but the amount of practice that it takes to do it is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you were like, oh, I want to do like something creatively?
When I was a kid, I was like a child actor and like model.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. I was in a Toys R Us ad, and I was in like a K Jewelers ad and like all this stuff. When I was like a baby, my mom put me into that.
We were talking about maybe putting our baby into that stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You don't want them to end up like me.
Get rid of that mic.
Yeah. Yeah. It was an interesting way to grow up. Definitely.
So are you doing like a lot of like bouncing around, doing a lot of stuff, or was it like a couple of one-offs and then that was the end of it?
When I was young, I had a lot. I had a lot of auditions. I made a lot of money.
I'm out here working, baby.
Yeah, I was working. I had a better career when I was like 9 years old than I do now. I made a lot of money. I didn't really see a dime of it, but
Of
that's
course,
fine.
yeah, you're a child.
Yeah, but yeah, I made a lot of money, and then I acted a lot, and I always wanted to be a stand-up comedian when I was younger. Like, I was like, my dream was.
How
to be a
did you?
stand-up
Because you're
comedian.
much younger than I am. How did you find it? Social media, like
Stand-up?
YouTube. Yeah.
Um,
Because it is a niche thing. Like you kind of have to be looking for. Not now. Now it's more inundated in the culture, but even when you're a child, it's not something that you just kind of stumble across, unless it is.
well, I don't really remember. It might have been YouTube. It might have been TV.
Because how old are you now?
I'm 27.
Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. So, what was the first stand-up you remember watching? Being like, oh, this is like, I want to try something like this. Do you remember?
It might have been Bill Burr. It might have been like Aziz Ansari or something like
Okay,
that
yeah.
when I was younger.
That is Aziz Ansari. That first one that came out, that one was hilarious.
yeah. It was
Nobody watches Burn Notice. That
Yeah.
one was funny.
No,
Not a nice guy though. Met him a few times. Not a nice person.
I saw him once at a Comedy Cellar. I was there getting a beer, which I don't usually do because I don't like to hang out there.
I hang there.
Yeah, once in a
Before my
while.
son was born, I'd be there every single week because I was like, oh, I just want to be around it.
Yeah, well, that's how I felt before I moved to New York. I would like every time I came here, I'd be like I'm gonna stop at the Comedy Cellar,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I became friends with some of the bartenders, especially one of them. Like we're really good friends now. So I went in to like talk to her, and
I know exactly which bartender you're talking about.
Carla.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because she's so friendly.
she's so friendly. She's
there's
from
so-
Boston too. So
Yeah, well, and there's so many bartenders there that you go there, and I used to like literally. I'm not lying to you, Josh. I would go every single week, every Wednesday. I would go there for dinner. I know a bunch of comics because of the restaurant that I work in. I
Yeah.
knew the general manager because she's a regular at my restaurant. So like I would go in, and every time that they were like, "Hey, we don't have a table, go sit at the bar." 9 times out of 10, the bartender could not give a flying shit about who was at their bar. There's one bartender who's incredibly nice, and it's
Yeah.
Scarlett.
she's the best. I love her. She's great. She's actually a really good friend. When I came to New York, I had a couple friends, but like she's. been
I
great
sat
to
down
hang
at the
out
bar
with,
and she was talking about something. She's like, "Oh, she was telling somebody else. She's like, oh, like about comedy clubs, like in Nashville or Memphis or something.
Yeah.
Because no, it was Nashville because she's talking about Zanies, and I was like, "Oh, are you a comic?" And she doesn't even know me, and she was like, "No, I just really love stand up. So every time I go to a city, I try to see comedy there." She goes, "You're obviously a comedian," and I was like, I love you. You're the sweetest person
Yeah.
ever."
No, she's great. She's great. I always wanted her to come to my shows, but she's like, you're probably not funny. I'm like, all right. Thanks, Carly. I appreciate that.
So you end up going. You're hanging out at the Comedy Cellar. I'm sorry. Let's go back. So around the time Bill Burr, Aziz Ansari, because these were all the big names, obviously, when you were a kid.
Yeah. I saw them on TV and stuff, and maybe it's because my dad, he always loved comedy, but like
Okay.
something about just stand up. I just always wanted to be a stand up comedian. I loved the stories they told and stuff. Like when I was a kid, especially but even as a kid, what I realized was, and I remember thinking this, I was writing sets. I was writing sets and like
How old? When you say a kid, like 9, 10, like when you're acting, you're like writing sets on the side or something?
when I was like 12 or 13,
Okay.
that's when I started like writing sets.
And are you still acting at this point?
I'm trying to. Yeah, I was
Okay.
actually in a movie last year.
Oh, really?
It wasn't like a huge thing, but it was big for me. It was like an hour-long movie.
Feature. Okay. What
Yeah,
movie?
feature. It was called A Birdwatcher Dies.
Okay.
I don't know when it comes out, but it's coming out eventually. It's gonna go to some festivals and stuff first, but it was great. Some friends of mine that I did short films with, they got like $70,000 from the town of New
Let's
Haven to
go.
make this movie. Yeah, and
Let's go.
They gave me a place to live. They paid for my
Fuck
food.
yeah.
They gave me like $4,000. It was like the best time of my life.
So you're still acting.
Yeah, I'm
Now-
trying as much as I can to get roles. I don't have any representation, so it's hard to
So
find.
you were a classic actor, producer, stand-up, musician.
I do it all, baby.
Yeah.
I do it all,
You're
you know what I'm
definitely
saying?
one of those guys.
I'm doing everything. I'm trying to write stuff too, because it's like
Writer.
which in my mind, it's like if I can't find roles, I'm gonna try to write something.
No,
and,
100%.
Like,
This is the crazy thing about IMDb. When I did my one-man show, like, I got the pro version so I could give myself credit for it.
yeah,
So I'm giving myself credit, and it's like, well, who produced it? And it's like, well, I produced it. It's like, well, who's the executive producer? It's like, well, I'm the executive, because it was my show. I
Yeah.
did. And then it was like, and then I hired a friend to direct it, so I put him down as the director. But then it was like, who wrote it? And I was like, well, I wrote it. And
Yeah.
so then when the reason I bring all this up is because then when I click on my IMDb, it's like executive producer credit, writing credit, acting credit. And I'm like, I kind of do everything.
it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
Hey, how
It's
you
just
doing?
it's who I am.
So
Yeah.
for you, you've always had stand up in the back of your mind. You're 12, 13 years old. You're writing sets down. You're thinking about doing this. You living in New Hampshire. What was the catalyst to where you actually tried it?
So I realized when I was really young, I thought I don't have enough life experience to like be a stand-up. That was like a big thing. So I was like, I'm just gonna go like live my life. And
And boy, did you.
yeah, I went through so many phases. Like I wanted to be in the military. I wanted to do so many things. I wanted to be like a writer. I was everything.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be everything. And then eventually I got really good at playing guitar just out of nowhere. I think I had like a game. It was like Guitar Hero, but like,
Yeah.
but like it was like a real guitar.
Okay.
Within like a week, I was able to play. I just started playing, and I started playing every day after that. And I got really good. And then I started going to bars and like getting gigs.
Okay, so
And
is this around the same time, like 13, 14, 15?
Like 15, I started
Okay.
playing, 15, I started playing guitar. 16, I was good enough to play in bars. I started playing in bars. And then from 16 until like 21, I was playing in bars all across New Hampshire, in Massachusetts. I was just playing like classic rock and bars and
Yeah.
stuff.
Just
It was
doing
a
covers.
Great time. Just doing covers. Yeah. I
And
would
are
do,
you
like,
making a living doing this, or are you still going to
Yeah.
school?
I was working in kitchens, but like I would make like $500 a gig.
Yeah.
So I'd do like 2 gigs on a weekend, sometimes more. Like sometimes I'd get like a day off the kitchen because I had a gig or something like that. So I was making a ton of money.
So wait, you're still in school at the time?
I
you
was
going-
still in high school.
Yeah. So you're going to high school Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
and then at night you're working like in a restaurant just in the back of house.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends you would take off from the restaurant to go do shows.
Yeah.
Damn,
So
dude,
I had,
that
like,
is
no
a
free
full schedule.
Full schedule. I like worked part-time for a little while, but I was able to hang out
Even
with
if
my
you're
friends,
working
'cause-
part time, because take it from me as someone, I mean, it was a little different because I was playing football in the South, but it's like I worked at a fast food place, I had school,
Yeah.
and then I would have practice. So it became one of these things where it was just like you have no, because I was part time at Wendy's or at McDonald's because I worked at both. But it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, my part time is like the only free hours I have in the week, and now I'm at this place working.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you have no free time ever at all.
But that's what sucks working at like. I never wanted to work at McDonald's or anything like that because the first restaurant I worked at was the best restaurant in the world to work at. Like I was like 16, 17 when I started there. It was like a dishwasher, and then I moved up to cook, and like we would get fucked up every day. Like
Yeah.
the waitresses were crazy. The people would just come in. My friends could just come in. I was like right by the window. It was right by the beach. So like once like on a hot day, I would open up the window and I'd jump out the window. I'd go jump in the ocean and come back.
Fuck yeah,
Dude, it was. I
When
got
you
stories
work-
on this restaurant.
When you work at a place like that, it's so much more fun than like a true like corporate. Because all the restaurants, I started at Outback at 18 serving.
Yeah.
So I was a busser before that at Chili's. But every restaurant I've worked at has basically been a corporately owned restaurant except one. And the one that wasn't was because I would tell the owner, like at that point I had like 10 or 12 years of experience working in the front of house. So I'd tell the owner like, hey, maybe we should do this instead of that. And they'd be like, that's a great idea. Let's do that.
Yeah.
The only problem with working for like those smaller restaurants is the owner was embezzling money.
Yeah.
And so like we went from getting actual paychecks to the owner would write a handwritten check to giving us cash under the table. And then eventually the cash stopped.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I'll get you next week. I'll get you next week. And it's like, okay, well now I've worked 3 weeks and I have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
And especially as a front of house guy, I'm like, that's my money. Like those are my tips. Like I earned that money. This isn't money that you promised to pay me. The guest paid me this.
Yeah.
And now you're not giving it to me?
No, I feel that I worked at a restaurant once where at the end of it, she was like going under and she started, it was just me and my friend working. He's a comedian too. He's in a lot of my stories. It was just me and him working there. She started writing our hours on a fucking napkin.
Yeah.
She started writing our hours on a napkin. Then she's like, oh, I lost the napkin, so I don't know how much. And I was like, well, you have to pay us because we've been working for like 3 weeks.
Oh, it was a whole thing where one of the women I worked with, one of the bartenders, she got her mom involved. And she was like older, but she was like, this is ridiculous. So she told her mom, like, I can't believe they're dicking me around like this. And, you know, we're all in our 20s. She's like, I can't believe they're dicking me around. This is bullshit. And her mom was like this fiery Latina lady. She was an immigrant. She's like, oh no, like we did not move to this country for us to work and not get paid. Like that's not what we're doing here. And so she called the police. It was a whole thing. And I was like, shit. Oh boy.
Yeah, restaurants are like that because it's hard to run a restaurant.
Well, and that's why ever since that experience, because I had worked corporate before and never would you even think about having an issue with your paycheck when you work at a corporate restaurant.
Yeah.
And so then I went back to working, even the steakhouse I'm in now, it's a super swanky, like small steakhouse, but it is owned by a corporate overlord. So like I never worry about my checks bouncing.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing. But for you, this first restaurant you're working in, it's just bedlam. Everyone's just kind of doing their thing, whatever they want to do.
Whatever they want
to
do. The boss kind of acted like he cared, but he was secretly entertained by it. Like he'd be like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And we'd be like, fuck off, Bob. And he'd be like,
Yeah. All right. All right.
He kind of liked it. Like
Yeah.
we were like his
These are my
family.
boys. This
We
is
used
my
to play
family.
cards back there. Like
Yeah,
it was
hell
slow.
yeah.
We would like gamble. Like I got stories of it would be the whole podcast if I
Yeah.
started talking about this restaurant. We used to hit golf balls off the roof into the ocean. So like there's a little part on the roof you could get on. We'd get drunk as shit at the end of the night. We'd all sleep there and like hit golf balls.
So you
off
would
the
just
roof.
sleep at the restaurant?
I would sleep. Sometimes some other people would sleep with me, but so they fired the cleaning crew because they were robbing
Yeah.
robbed Bob. So I
Fucking Bob.
Dude.
Shout out Bob.
I'm so pissed he sold it because it was called Ron's Landing. It was one of the oldest. Maybe I shouldn't have shouted that out, but it was one of the oldest buildings in Hampton, New Hampshire, and it was.
Well, it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
So,
They
yeah.
tore it down.
They tore the.
They
so
tore it
he
down.
sold. Bob sells, and then they tore the whole
Yeah,
thing down.
They're putting like condos up or something. I'm
Of
so
course
mad.
Bob probably got a big old bag for that.
Yes,
though.
he got like $3 million.
Hell yeah.
Maybe more than that. But like that place was my home. Like I loved it. I went there. I would go there when I had my days off. I would just like
So-
go hang out in the kitchen.
Are you at this point? You're playing guitar.
Yep.
You're going to school, and then you're working there. What is life like? Do you have? Are your friends just the people at the restaurant, or do you have like a group of like high school friends that you're like
Yeah.
partying with? Or because this is something I will tell for the listeners, as someone who's worked in restaurants my entire life. I've been in restaurants since I was like 14 years old. It's interesting because the restaurant almost becomes part of your family.
Yeah.
Because you're around each other more than you see your actual family if you're working full time. Now, with you being part time, are you like hanging out with high school friends, or are you hanging out with the restaurant crew?
Sort of both. I hang out with my high school friends a lot. Mostly my high school friends. A lot of my high school friends work there. So like,
Okay.
the only people my age working there were my high school friends.
Got
'cause The reason we got the job was because my friend, his dad was the head cook. So we got jobs as dishwashers, and I started working as a cook. And then the only dishwashers that would come in were my high school friends.
Okay.
So like
So it's kind of a merging of
it was a merging
worlds.
thing. Yeah. Like, and we were a big family. Like we were a huge family, and we would just drink all day. At 4 o'clock, they'd be like, "All right, it's 4 o'clock," and they'd like pass beers to everyone, and we'd start.
So was it
drinking.
more a lunch thing?
We'd open up at 4, and then we'd serve until like 11 o'clock.
Okay, so it was dinner.
Yeah, it was dinner. It was
So
like
you
French
guys would start
Italian
drinking
place.
beers at the beginning of service.
Yeah,
Because normally in restaurants I work at, you do a shot of espresso, like fancy restaurants. You do like, everyone does a shot of espresso or a coffee before service. And then they do like after service, then everyone gets a drink.
yeah.
But for you guys were
We would
doing
drink it all
drinks
day
before.
long. We would get drunk. Sometimes we would get so fucking drunk that I'm surprised that we were able to even complete a shift. Sometimes we weren't able to complete. Sometimes people would end up in the basement sitting in the chair in the office, and they weren't able to continue.
I had that, and again, coming from a corporate landscape, I say this all the time, but obviously before I got sober, I drink at work constantly.
Yeah.
Like before work, at work. And when you work in restaurants, and again, I can speak for front of house, not back of house, because I was almost always in the front, except for like a year where I was a sous chef. But you almost always can do your job a little buzzed, because our
Yeah.
job is hospitality. So it's like you're having a party. Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah.
Everybody's having fun.
It almost helps with it.
Yeah, 100%. There's only a handful of times, as drunk as I was every single day, there's only a handful of times where the manager had to be like, you have to go home.
Yeah,
Like, this is too much.
yeah.
And now in the kitchen, because you're in your own little world, was that something where almost, obviously you said people would have to end up in the basement in the chair, but almost entirely, could you do your job like getting fucked up?
Yeah, you could do
Because
it.
there's just repetition after a while.
You could do it. Even if you were like super fucked up, you could do it.
Because you don't have to deal with people too who are like, hey, are you fucked up?
Yeah,
Like I've had guests be like, hey, we think he's drunk. And
they
I'm
didn't
like,
care. They didn't.
listen, guy.
Yeah. As long as you did your job, that's what they always say. It's like, as long as you do your job, we don't care. Like, they get
Yeah.
mad. They'd be like, are you drunk? I'd be like, yeah. I'd be like, just do your job.
Yeah.
As long as you can do your job, I don't give a shit. And it was just so busy all the time that, like, it's almost like you worked it off. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
100%,
Like, you,
yeah.
like, worked it
You
off.
start sweating, you start drinking some water, get rehydrated, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm good.
But no, it was a great time. I was there for 6 years. It was a really, really good time.
So let's get into it, because then you're doing music, you're working at the restaurant. When did you start drinking? Was that when you started working at the restaurant, or was that before? Because you said
Before.
in New Hampshire there was nothing else to do.
yeah, when I was like 12, I had like, I didn't really have a lot of friends. I've always been kind of weird and like trouble. Like I have even today, like trouble socially. Like
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like socially awkward. I don't know if I'm autistic. I don't know what. My family seems to think I am, But
dude, I have so many people in my comments who are like, "You're autistic," and I'm like,
I
"Get
think
the
every
fuck out of
comedian
here."
is a
Yeah,
little
I'm like,
autistic. Everyone nowadays.
my
like,
my
autistic.
wife is a school teacher, and she's like, "No, I teach kids who have autism. There's no way you're autistic."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, "That's what I said."
Like you wouldn't freak out if I touched your head. You know?
Yeah, like I don't. Well, and the other, because like I have echolalia where I'll like repeat things over and over and over,
Yeah.
and like people in my comments are like, "That's a sign of autism." And I'm like, or I could just do the echolalia. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be one and the other. It could be one or the other.
There's a point where it's not really, it doesn't really matter.
Well,
Like
it's
maybe
not-
you have a little autism. If it's
Yeah,
not noticeable,
and
it's
I have
like
so many friends who are autistic, obviously, who are comics, and I don't like. It's not like I go to the zoo by myself, so I'm always like, yeah, I probably have.
you
I'm
might-
probably
you might be
on the
autistic.
spectrum somewhere.
I'd be a little autistic.
But at the same time, like, who fucking cares?
yeah. No, I love trains.
The only the only time it does get in our line of work, what we do now, the only time it can affect you is the social aspect, which I'm blessed. I don't know if it's because I was taught, trained, or because I'm just naturally a social person. Because my dad was in sales forever. He always taught me, you shake a hand, you look someone in the eye, you communicate with them. If you're around people, you don't look at your phone. And like, those were things that he taught me. Because I'll take younger kids, because they'll be like, how do you know this comic and that comic and this comic? And I'm like, I don't know. I run into them and I talk to them. And so they'll be like, oh, can I hang? Can I come to a hang with you? And I'm like, yeah, of course. And then when they come, they just stare at their phone the whole time. And I go, hey, this is why you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
Because you're in there. You have to be out here. And again, I don't know, because by nature, I want to be by myself.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know if that's just something that because my dad taught it to me, I'm good at it. Because I don't think I would be a naturally gregarious person if it wasn't for him. But for you, like you said, you're socially awkward. So is that like working at the restaurant, doing shows at bars and all that kind of stuff? Did that help, or were you just kind of a loner doing that stuff?
When I'm in like once in a while, I would be like really like a butterfly. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I was good and I'd be moving around. It's hard for me to look people in the eyes, but like at shows, like especially like at a bar, like I'm having drinks, I'm playing music, I'm doing what I love to do. Like my energy is so high. Like people come up to me and talk to me. It's like I'm totally fine.
You're
to
in
talk
it.
to them.
Yeah.
And there's no like thinking like, okay, what do I say next? Because they're kind of leading the conversation and they just ask me questions, so it's like easy to like talk.
Yeah.
As opposed to like being in a bar by myself where no one knows me and I have to like
That's hard.
like, hey man, where are you from? You know what I mean? Like,
Dude, there's so many times I've gone to open mics when I first moved to New York. And this is exactly what you're talking about. And I would walk by the open mic and like look in. And if I didn't see a single comic I knew, I'd be like, I'm going home.
yeah.
Like, I can't. I'm very good. Like, if you like, and this is the same thing when I was a kid. Like, I couldn't talk to girls, and my buddies would be like, let's go to the bar and talk to girls. And I just couldn't. But if my like sisters introduced me to a friend of theirs, I'm hot. I'm on it. Hey, how you doing? Where you from? How you doing? What's going on? But I could not just cold walk up to people. And so it is interesting because I'm the same kind of way where it's like, yeah, if I'm around, like if I get done with a show and people come up and they're like, that was so funny, or you should have done this, or you should have, like, I'll engage. But if I'm just standing after a show and people are just walking out, I'm like, I'm not going to talk to you.
Anyone, yeah.
You fucking out of your mind?
So your sister was your wingman, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
And then when I got into college and I was playing college football, a lot of the stereotypes are true because I was I'm still very much like I didn't kiss my wife until like our 5th date. Like I had gone on dates with girls when I was single in New York and they'd be like, oh, I thought you were gay because you never made a move. Like, and I was like, oh no, I just don't do that. And then in college, you can see where the stereotypes come from because some of my teammates would be like, no, we're college football players. You just make out with them. And it's like, I don't think that's how that works, buddy.
Yeah, no, I'm terrified of women. I have no game.
Scared the shit out of me, dude.
Like I can't. I've had girls give me like clear signs, and I'm like,
dude,
anyway, you want to go to another restaurant or something? Like you want to go back to the park? Like I just can't do it. You have to tell me, kiss me right now.
Yeah,
like,
or
are you sure,
dude?
Like,
same way. So maybe we're dancing on that spectrum a little bit.
Yeah.
So for you, 12, you start drinking, socially awkward, and then. What's happening between, you told us you get into music around 13, 14, you start playing, 15, you get really good, 16, you're in bars. What ends up happening to where you decide like, because it sounds, honestly, on paper, after you graduate high school, that sounds like it'd be an awesome life. Working at the restaurant, doing music. What happens to where you're like, I'm going to blow this whole thing up?
So COVID happened.
Okay.
And I just couldn't really get gigs. I also met this girl and I moved down to Massachusetts. These ladies ruined my life. I met this girl. I moved in with her and her like family, just because like
during COVID,
like right before COVID, I met her. and I moved in with her. I was still kind of working at the restaurant, but like during COVID, it was just like once a week, and that was actually one of the best times at the restaurant because we would just like play cards all day.
Are they just doing to-go orders?
Just to-go orders,
Yeah.
and we would just make all the to-goes, and then we'd sit in the restaurant and get hammered. But I moved in with her. I was just kind of trying to like escape the world because like it just became like too much for me. Like it just became really overwhelming. You know,
It sounds
I was
overwhelming.
kind of like the way I am. Like I'm socially awkward, but I'm also like too much over the top. So like I have like those two sides.
Yeah,
So, like I
same.
would meet too many people and I'd hang out with like the wrong people, and I just made a lot of bad connections and like did a lot of things that like saw a lot of things that kind of like screwed my mind up. Like I saw a lot way too quick, and it just kind of made me scared of the world. And like I decided to just hide away from the world because her house was in the middle of nowhere in the woods. She had like a big land. I just grew a shit ton of weed on all of COVID. I grew like so much weed. It was a great time. It was so peaceful. It was just like with her.
And are you done with school at this point?
Yeah, I'm done with school at this point. I got out of school. That's right after high school is when I met her. I met her in Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween. And I moved in with her, lived with her for like 6 years.
Damn.
Yeah, a long time.
That's not. So are you? You're not living with the parents for all those 6 years, are you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you are.
They had like this big property, and they basically just stayed in their room the whole time. Like,
So wait, let me get this straight. I want to. So you meet this girl in Salem on Halloween.
Yeah.
You guys hit it off. You're done with high school. You're not going to college, and you're like, hey, why don't we move in together?
Yeah.
How long did you date before you moved in together?
A while.
Okay.
Like, I would just. She lived really far away from me.
Yeah.
She lived all the way in like Fitchburg, and I was up in.
So it was like a
Hampton,
long distance.
a long drive.
Basically,
I love driving, but it just cost me a lot of money. And eventually, she was like, "Why don't you just live here?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I hated where I was living. Like I had my friends, but like my friend group just fell apart. They were all.
So
shitty
were you
people.
not? You weren't living at home anymore.
No.
Okay.
I didn't have my own place. I was bouncing between my mom and my dad's house, and like a lot of times I'd just sleep at my friend's house, or I'd sleep at the restaurant, or just sleep in my car. Not that I had to. I just you know I.
And so then you hit it off with her. You guys, she's like, why don't you just live here? You decide to live with her on her family's land.
Yeah.
And that is during COVID or right before COVID?
Right before COVID.
And then all through COVID, and then 3 or 4 more years on top of that, you stay there.
Yeah, we broke up for like a year and a half. And during that year and a half, I just kind of spiraled. It wasn't like because of her necessarily. Maybe that was part of it, but like I spiraled and I ended up going to rehab.
Okay.
And then after rehab, I was like, I just want to go back and live a simple. It was just so simple with
Yeah.
her because it was like I'd go to work, come home, we just watch TV and go to bed.
Dude,
every
it's
single
so
night.
easy, man.
It was so simple.
I say it all the time. The delusion that we have as creatives and the delusion that people have who are out there trying to be like, no, I need to do the next thing. I need to do the next thing. I have an ex who, like, she would work, come home, drink like a bottle of wine, watch her shows, and it was just reruns of old like shows that she liked, whether it was Friends or How I Met Your Mother. And she would just drink her wine, hang out with her dogs, and watch her TV shows. And then the next day, do it all over again.
Yeah.
And I remember being so angry at the time, like, don't you want more?
Exactly.
But the idea of being like content and happy, that's something that I just don't understand. Like, cause I'm like, no, you have to do the next thing. You have to do the next thing. Like I have a fucking 1 month old and my wife is like taking him out. You're like coming in like, and it's chaos, but I'm like, we have to record the podcast.
Yeah. No.
And then there are so many people out there where they're like, no, I just, I go to work, I come home, I like my place, I watch my shows, I drink my beer and I go to sleep.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that sounds
It's
awesome.
like the double. It's the grass is always greener because it's
Yeah.
like when I was with her and we were doing that, it was so simple. I was like, I wish I was in New York doing comedy. Like
Yeah.
I was doing stand up, and back then I came up with a lot of my jokes because like I was constantly like, okay, I'm thinking these jokes. Like I was constantly thinking about it because all I was doing was hanging out doing boring shit. And then when like we broke up or like whenever I was away from her doing that stuff, all I could think about was just being at home watching TV.
Yeah.
So it's like the back and forth.
It is a weird thing, like, because now one of my favorite parts of the day when I don't have work at the restaurant and I don't have spots is like right before we get him ready for bed. My wife, me, and our boy will just like watch reruns of Modern Family.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is like the fucking best part of my day. It's
Yeah.
just hanging out with the family, watching a show about family. And I'm like, this is so cool. But after like 2 or 3 episodes, I'm like, all right, I got to go to work now. Like, I got to start cutting clips. I got to start doing video. Like, I can't sit here anymore.
And that's important. Like I've realized it in my life, especially after like all my experiences, like you got to do stuff with your life. You got to do things. You got to branch out. You got to keep yourself like occupied, be an artist, do all these things. But the real goal is to just have a family and like,
just chill.
just be able to have people that love you and like, just be like, I know this is supposed to be funny, but like
No, but it's
you know,
true.
it's true. Like, just like have people that love you, take care of your family. Like, you know, that's why a lot of like artists that are like really out there are so depressed because it's like they have the other side of that, which is like constantly doing stuff. It's chaos all the time, but they don't have that rock, that family.
Dude, there's so many comics that we've heard of that are like big comics where they're like, oh no, I don't tour in the summer.
Yeah.
And you're like, why? And they're like, because I have 2 kids and I want to be home. Whereas 30 years ago, like you'll listen to these interviews with these older road dog comics and they're like, no, I'm on the road 48 weeks a year.
Yeah, I got 5 kids. I never see them.
Yeah. And it's like, what? Why? It's like, I got to provide. And it's like, yeah, but you don't.
You don't need to provide that much.
Yeah, you don't have to do that much.
And your kids are just going to spend all their money on cocaine.
Well, and it's like, also as it's like, we know you're going out getting hammered doing blow. Like,
yeah.
You know, you could do half the shows if you just saved that money.
Yeah, save that money. Just buy like half a
Just
grand.
buy a little bit.
Just buy a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit of
just
cocaine.
a little bit.
Still a little Tuski. It's never hurt anybody. You know what I'm saying?
So for you, what was the deciding factor to come to New York then?
I had a band with my friend, like a blues band. He's a blues musician. We both love the blues. And we were going to an open mic one time. It's like open mic we love to go to. And he showed up without his guitar. I'm like, where the hell is your guitar? He's like, I'm going to do stand-up instead because he loves stand-up too. I was like, all right. You
Just out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Didn't give you a text or anything.
No. Didn't text me. That's what he's like. My friend Tim.
Shout out Tim.
Shout out Tim. He's in a lot of my stories. I love him. He's actually, he's my best friend. He's got a kid now. Anyway, so he goes up there and does stand-up. And he did really well. And he came off the stage, I did so terrible. I'm like, no, you actually did, especially for being at a music open mic doing stand-up, which is like famously,
you don't do that. Just like when we have our comedy open mics in Jacksonville, if someone showed up with a guitar, we'd be like, get the fuck out of here. I saw the song and it said open mic and it says, all right, dude.
Yeah, but it was exactly like that, but he did really good. And people were laughing. And I was like, dude, that was really good. Like, I'm going to do stand-up. Like, I'm going to drive you down to where I live because I was living in Massachusetts. I was like, I'm going to bring you down to Ralph's in Worcester. Let's do stand-up. So I went. Have
you started doing stand-up yet?
No, I hadn't started.
So you had been doing all this writing, but you still had not gotten on stage yet.
But I had the book with all my jokes.
Yeah.
And so
you keep your book with you, man. I see it. Yeah.
Book. I looked at the book and I was like, all of this is shit. So I started writing a new set, and I had like this whole new set because now I have life experience. So I had like an actual set. It was all still kind of shit, but I went up and I did it. I basically pissed myself. It was like a bad bomb, not like a funny bomb, like a trembling bomb. And then I was like.
Which, by the way, is bananas. You can always tell when people have not done a lot of stand-up because they will involuntarily shake.
Yeah.
Like, they're not doing it on purpose, and I'll be at the mic or something or at a show, and I'll be like, Mike, check it out. And he'll be like, what? And I'm like, Josh's hand is shaking.
Yeah. No, it was painful. And I was like, I got to do it again. So the next night I went and did it again. And it was a little bit better. I was still kind of nervous. And I just, every single night, I did it like 5 nights in a row. Every open mic that I could find, I just go to. And then eventually I could like actually do it, and I got super comfortable with it. Like I didn't necessarily.
It's just kind of like the guitar.
Just kind of like the guitar, yeah. Like I couldn't play in front of people when I first started. Then like I started playing in front of people, and then I got more comfortable. And eventually it was like I want to play in front of people. I don't like playing by myself. That's the same with comedy. Is like when I do a set and it goes well, the worst feeling is getting off stage and being like, I don't have another show tonight.
Yeah.
Like I need to find. And I just ask people like, is there any other spots that I can get?
Even the other way. If I go on stage and I bomb, I'm more likely after a bomb to be like, I have to get back on stage.
Yeah,
like I have to redeem myself because that was fucking garbage.
Yeah.
And I've told this story on the last episode, probably the last 2 episodes because it just recently happened. But peek behind the curtain, we record more than 1 episode a week. But yeah, I had my first show back with the baby. And I was like, oh, I'm funny. I'll just get up there and talk about the funny shit the baby's doing.
Yeah.
I didn't write anything out. I didn't think about it really at all. I was like, I've been doing comedy over a decade. Like, I'll just get up and talk.
Babies are funny. Yeah.
Dude, it was a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
Because even as a seasoned comic, you need to know at least an idea of what you're going to talk about. I basically got up there and was like, what's the deal with babies?
Yeah.
Like doing Seinfeld. And then, to your point, I got off stage and the set went well. Like if you didn't know, you'd be like, oh, it was a good set. Went home, sat down, wrote it all out. Because I was like, these are funny premises, but you have to like get some sort of consistency. Wrote it all out. Had a show literally like 4 days later, fucking crushed with the baby stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
It's good to have a baby. I feel like a lot of comics will have a baby and be like, great. First thought is like, great. I got more material
So much material.
now. So much
Well,
material.
I literally was telling people before I recorded the special, they're like, isn't your wife like 8 months pregnant? And I was like, yeah, but I have to do it now before I turn into a hacky dad comic.
Yeah.
Like I have to get all my stuff out about getting arrested and drinking and getting in trouble before I become my baby's crazy.
Yeah.
So for you, we were kind of getting into it, and then I derailed us because I love talking about myself because I'm a narcissist. What ends up happening? You're hitting all these open mics. You're living in Mass. What ends up happening to where you're like, all right, I'm going to New York?
I don't remember what happened. I think I did like a bringer show or something. Like I heard of it.
Are you? And by the way, because it's about 3-4 hours away. Are you coming into the city too during this time?
Just driving down.
You're driving all the way to Manhattan.
All the way to Manhattan. I used to do that before I even did comedy because I'm fucking insane. I would just drive down to Manhattan because I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
Like in the middle of the night.
Well, it's not insane. It's one of the greatest cities humankind has ever built.
Yeah. It was beautiful. Like I remember always just driving down here and be like, I want to live here. One day I'm going to live here. But it always just seemed like impossible because I've always been broke.
Yeah.
Like I've never had money, no matter how hard I worked. Part of that is because I spent a lot of my money on like instruments and drugs and
it's
like
the
that.
life.
But
you're the road dog.
I got a show with like Charlie Barquette or something like that.
Okay.
At Mohegan. It was like a bringer show, and he said that if I did it, because I was like, I'm not just gonna do a show and bring 5 people. I can't do that every time. So like, if I do a show, can I do another show for free? He's like, yeah. So I brought like 5 people, and then he let me do that show, and then he let me do another show for free in the Broadway Comedy Club.
Okay.
Which is
so you did the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut.
Yep, Mohegan Sun.
And then you did obviously well enough there. You brought a few people, and so then the next show that you did was at Broadway.
At Broadway, I didn't have to bring anybody, and it's funny because the first time I ever saw a comedy show was at Broadway when I was like 16.
Okay.
And I got way too drunk. Off of what the hell are they called? Long Island iced teas.
Of course you did. Trash drink.
I got
trash
hammered.
drink.
I drank
As
like 3.
per talked about on the show,
Yeah.
garbage person drink.
Yeah, the white trash. Florida drink.
Yeah, very much so.
I got hammered. I heckled the comedian. Did like a fake accent.
Did you have like a fake ID?
No. I went in there. I don't know if they ID'd me, but like I don't remember. I got a drink. I probably had my own alcohol because I was a fucking alcoholic. But my brother-in-law and my other brother didn't want to finish their Long Island, so they both gave me the long. Like I drank 2 Long Island.
Well, I mean, full transparency. I worked in Daytona Beach for a very long time at restaurants during spring break. I would get in trouble with my managers all the time because I was like 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, you have to ID people. And I'm like, for what?
Yeah.
Who gives
They're
a
not
shit?
driving.
Who fucking cares?
Who cares if a kid dies because he gets too drunk at the bar? Like who gives
Well,
a
you
fuck?
don't overserve them, but if everyone's
Yeah.
ordering fucking margaritas, it's like, yeah, I'll give them one. Like, who gives a shit?
Yeah. That's what the Europeans do.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
The reason why kids are getting hammered is because we restrict it from them, and then they want to do it all. Trust me.
I like that.
I
that
know.
outlook. I like that outlook.
So for you, I cannot believe you end up going to Broadway to do stand-up at a show where you got wasted.
Heckled the comedian, and I went back and I was talking to the other comedians like drunk as shit because my
What do you mean you went back?
My mom
You're an
was-
audience member.
well, I was an audience member. My mom, my brother were like, "Get the fuck out of here!" So like I was like, "Whatever, fuck you guys," and I like left and I went out. So like you walk in like the stairs where all the
Yeah,
comedians sit. I was out there just like, "What do you guys excuse me? Like, what do you do? I'm here with my
I would
family."
fucking hate you so much.
It was a terrible night too. I was drunk as shit, like arguing with my family the whole way to the back of the
Oh
hotel.
my
It was
God, I
terrible.
would fucking be so angry with you. And I had
They were
that
nice.
experience too because when I was still drinking, I remember I went to go see, and I've told the story before, but I went to go see Tom Segura, who was one of my favorite comics. He is one of my favorite comics, but at the time it was like, I found him before anybody else did. He was still doing the Comedy Zone in Jacksonville, and I was
Yeah.
like, this guy is going to be huge.
You found him.
And I got so drunk,
Yeah.
and I was heckling. And Tom doesn't mess around with hecklers. He will call you out, but not in like he'll go, what? And then as a person who was doing stand-up at the time, drunkenly, but still trying it, I like clammed up, and I was like, oh, never mind. And he's like, no. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You want to talk. And I was like, And then after the show, my fiance at the time was like, hey, do you want to get a picture? And from like me to you, I go, I do comedy too. We basically the same person.
Oh my God.
And didn't get a picture. So I completely understand what you're talking about when you're like,
Yeah.
I was hammered and made an ass out of myself
Yeah.
in front of comedians.
I constantly am hammered. I still get hammered and make an ass of myself. I probably did it like 2 nights ago. I do it every night. I wake up and I'm like, God damn it!
Why did you do it?
Why
Josh?
did I do that again?
So you end up doing the Broadway show, and how does that go?
It went pretty well.
So now this is years later, obviously relatively sober because you're doing stand up.
Yeah,
And you do pretty good.
I do pretty good. Like I'm not really doing crowd work or anything like that, but I'm comfortable enough, and my jokes are like well written.
Yeah.
Like they're not like the best. A lot of them are like pull the rug up.
Yeah, but
even
you've been
now, I
writing
still
them
like
for
those.
10 years.
Yeah, I've been writing it forever. Like I know they're funny, and a lot of times I'll see comedians that like do well, and I'm like, all right, if they're doing well, like that, not to be like narcissistic, but I'm like,
No, 100%.
If their
Dude,
set
there's
is
so many shows I
working,
go
then
to, and I go,
gotta be
how
able
am
to
I
do
not a
this.
paid regular at this club? These people suck.
Sometimes you do feel like that way. It's obviously all perspective.
Yeah.
But like, sometimes I'm just like, what the fuck?
What are we doing?
How am I not? How?
Why do I have to bring 3 people to
Why
this
do
club?
I have to bring 3 people to this guy?
And that person doesn't. And I'm burying that person.
Yeah. But then after like the years, like I realized, I'm like, oh, my set last year, like people were laughing, but like it sucks compared to now.
Yeah.
It's trash compared to now. It's so hacky and like,
Dude.
so it's just perspective. Like you keep
100%.
growing, and you find your like voice and like I want to do more stories and stuff, but
Yeah.
like I don't have like the jokes to put into the stories. The stories are funny, but
The
like
tags,
for
you
a
need the
stand-up set
tags,
that's
yeah.
5 minutes long, it's not gonna get laughs like that.
Yeah.
So I do jokes that are like, I was jacking off on the subway,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean, like
yeah.
pull the rug out jokes.
I to your point, I was fortunate enough to do the Cellar like the first year I lived in New York. Again, working at the restaurant. And it's so funny because people like other comics are like, you have to quit that restaurant because you work at night and shows are at night. And I go, yeah, I don't play the stand in the Cellar because they see me at open mics. I do those clubs because I wait on the people who work there and they're like, hey, you should come by and do a set.
Oh shit.
But I say all that to say, like my first couple months working at this restaurant, first couple months in New York, I meet someone who runs a show at the Cellar.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, when we start talking about comedy, I give him like a couple free apps and a free slice of cake because I'm like, oh, I know you're a comic. I've seen you at the Cellar. Because again, when I first moved here, I was going to the Cellar like every fucking day. And he goes, oh, are you a comic? And I go, yeah, I just moved here. And he goes, oh, do you have 5 minutes? And I was like, yeah, of course. No, I moved to New York and I don't have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, you should do my show. So then, a few months go by, we're going back and forth. Finally, I get on his show. And dude, I watch that tape now and I'm like, too soon, way too soon. Way too soon.
That's the worst feeling when you get such a good opportunity like that.
Because I moved to New York being like, I'm pretty good at comedy.
Yeah.
And then I got here, and now 5 years later, I'm so much better than I was when I first got here. Like, I was a fucking moron to think I was any good at it when I first got here.
Yeah.
Because the mics force you to write so much more because you're seeing the same people. You don't want to do the same jokes. You're going to 2, 3, 4 mics a day. Especially when I first moved here, I was going like 3 or 4 days a week. I'd be going to 3 or 4 mics a day. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I have to keep writing. So it forces you to like hone in on your jokes. And now I just watched that tape. I was looking for like shit to post.
Yeah.
Because before I do the special release, I still need to post. So I was going through all these old sets and I saw that set and I was like, I can't post anything from here. Yeah. This is garbage.
So it is good to have someone else look at that because a lot of times you see it, it's like, this is garbage, but there's some stuff that's funny in there. It's just, you're so close to the material that it's hard.
100%.
But I have a similar thing that was way too soon when I first started comedy, like before I had any videos out or anything. Some guy messaged me on Facebook and was like, hey, I've seen a lot of your stuff. I'd like to have you on a show. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but fuck it, I'll take it. So like,
oh, you did it.
Yeah. So
whenever I get those DMs, I'm always like, oh, this is obviously a scam.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty gullible. I'm still pretty dumb. I get scammed constantly. There's stories about that too. But yeah. So apparently there's a guy that's kind of sort of a friend of mine. Not really. His name's Josh. He's also the same name as me, and he looks kind of like me. Like we both have long hair.
Yeah.
Same like relative height, and he does stand up like all over the city and like all up in New England and stuff. So I think this guy confused me for him.
Got it.
And he gave me a show. It was with Doug Key, like Doug Key.
Yeah.
Down in Cape Cod. So I was like, fuck, I'll go to Cape Cod. So I went to Cape Cod, did the show. I walked in and I met Doug, and he was like, who the fuck are you? I was like, I'm Josh Royer. He's like, whatever. You got 5? And I was like, yeah. He was like, I go up there. It wasn't great, but like I made people laugh. But it wasn't like it wasn't a complete bomb, but it wasn't.
But it is one of those things where you think back on it now and you're like, why couldn't have that happened now?
Exactly.
When I'm ready to rock.
Now I could have done that show and like
just crushed.
Done better.
Yeah.
Or bomb completely.
But it's all perspective because it is one of those things too where like we were talking about before we turned the mics on. Like when I did my special, I was like, oh, I'm so good at this. 2 days later, I had another show. Same material from my special, because obviously it's not out until September.
Yeah.
I do the special material, and it fucking bombs. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah. It's so weird how that happens. And every comic talks about that. And maybe we should not talk about it, because every single comic talks about it.
Well, I want to get back to you. So you do the show at Broadway, and I just want to know, when did you decide, like, because you just moved to New York, like within the last few months, right?
Yeah, like I moved in April.
Okay, so then what was it that led up to you in April? Were you just finally like, I keep saying I'm going to New York, I'm going to New York?
Yeah, I broke up with my girlfriend.
Same one. It was the same one that you, okay.
months before, that's when because one of the things was I got the part in that movie.
Yeah.
She was like, "You're not doing a movie," and I was like, "Fuck you."
I'm a bird. You have to let me flap my wings.
I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
That's what it is. Yeah. Love Michael Keaton.
So yeah, I do the movie. I break up with her. I do the movie, and then I'm working forever, and I met some girl down here who I don't really talk to anymore because we got in a huge argument, but like that's the whole thing. But she had an apartment. She was like, it's $1,000. Like, it's not that hard to find an apartment. She like told me just go on Craigslist, and I was like, why haven't I not done this before? Found an apartment for $1,000. I was like, fuck it, I can do $1,000. So I worked for the whole winter and saved up like $2,000.
Where are you working? Are you still working in restaurants?
I was working at a restaurant,
different one, but
a different
still,
restaurant,
yeah.
which is a great place, and I loved it.
Yeah.
But it kind of fell apart there too.
But you just grind the whole winter, and you're like, I'm gonna
grinded my ass off.
Yeah.
Like I worked every hour that I had. I worked in the restaurant. I didn't really do open mics like here and there. I did open mics. I did shows when I had shows. But
how much did you end up saving before you moved?
Around $2,000.
Okay.
So it wasn't too much.
Yeah.
But
well, no, and that's the thing is like there are some people I talk to, like my ex and I, we saved combined close to 10,000.
Yeah.
But like 7 or 8 of that was hers because I am just like you. I'm very bad with money.
I'm
so
terrible.
yeah.
I'm horrible with
So
money.
it was, and I was sober at the time, but still, that's where everyone don't get it twisted. When people are like, "Oh, you must save so much money since you're not drinking," it's like, no, I still light money on fire.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't my issue.
Now you just spend it on something else.
Yeah. My issue wasn't, oh, I'm losing all my money on drugs and alcohol. I was, but that wasn't like now that I've been sober for 8 years, I just lose all my money on toys.
Yeah.
Like I fucking have a brand new Xbox. Like I buy shit for my son where I'm like, well, I'll play with it until he gets old enough to play with it. You know what I mean? Like it is one of those things where it's like, I burn through you'll know this as a musician. I burn through so much fucking podcast equipment that I don't even use anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I got to get better aux cords. I got to get better, rigs and lights and better this and better that. And then it's always like, it's fine before.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I do.
So the money thing is not. So you have $2,000. You come to New York and then you're like, why didn't I do this 5 years ago?
Yeah. One of the reasons was because I couldn't get my parents to co-sign.
Yeah.
Because I never had enough money to like get an apartment.
Yeah.
Because you have to have like a bunch of money. But I won't get into too many details. But I had a conversation with my dad, and he was finally, because forever I've been asking him, can I get co-sign on an apartment? Can I co-sign on an apartment for like years? And he was like, no. And finally, some things arose where he was like, okay, I'll concede. I'll co-sign an apartment. So he co-signed, and I was able to get it. And
Fuck yeah.
I had the $1,000 to pay for the first month. I couldn't really get a job, but I just DoorDashed on my scooter, which recently got stolen. DoorDashed on my scooter constantly, like so I didn't spend any money, so I could save that $1,000 for the next month. And I was able to get a job. I worked at Auschwitz for a while.
Okay.
And that got me through the next month. And I got another job, and that got me through the next month. And then
So just bouncing around.
Just bouncing around.
But you're doing the thing.
No, I was doing. It was.
You're here.
I'm
saying you're doing it right now. You're doing the thing.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I'm surprised I'm still afloat right now. Like I got a new job now,
dude.
like,
I tell people all the time, the hardest part is getting here. Once you're here, you're kind of like, I'll fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
The hardest part is getting here.
Yeah.
Because it's so interesting. People ask me all the time back home. They're always like, well, are you going to ever move back to Florida? And I go, the only time I will move back to Florida is if I fucking make it. And then I'm like, oh, we'll buy a house in Florida. Like, there's no tail between the legs. Like, I got here. The hardest part was getting here. Now I'm here.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've got so many, obviously a loving and supportive wife and a family. So, but even if everything went to absolute dog shit and I got kicked out and I was on my own and all I had was a backpack on my back, I have so many friends now where it's like, I'm not going back.
Yeah.
I'm like Jordan Belfort in Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not fucking leaving.
I'm not fucking leaving. Yeah. No, there's nothing, there's no place that I've been to in the world that as many things I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to fucking
No, it's
so many things happen in New York. And like a day is like a year.
Yeah,
you know?
all the time people are always like, yeah, but isn't it more expensive? I go, I'm living in a place where I, on any given night, could go out and it's literally like the best comedy festival you've ever been to.
Yeah.
Like if I decided to go out tonight and ask someone like, hey, can I jump on the show? I could be on a show with Sam Morril or Mark Norman or fucking, Andrew Schultz or Whitney Cummings or Eliza was just in town. Nikki Glazer was just in town. Like Shane Gillis was just in town. It's like you could just randomly ask to be on a show and now all of a sudden you're on a show with people who I would consider some of my heroes in comedy. And you're like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. I was at the Comedy Cellar one time with Carly and I was like, all right, I got to go because I had to drive back home. This is before I lived here. I was like, I got to drive back home. It's like 4 fucking hours. So I get to my car, and as I'm getting in my car, she texts me. She's like, "You shouldn't have left. Shane Gillis and Sydney Sweeney just walked in." I missed an opportunity to see those tits. Shane Gillis's tits. I missed an opportunity to see those big.
So you
those
teed
big
it up
honkers.
and then you hit it out. There you go. You nailed it.
I'm a professional. What can I say?
So I wanted to ask you, because you peppered in a lot. See, these are the kind of my favorite kind of episodes where you pepper in a bunch of stories as we're talking instead of like just going through the stories one by one. What I want to ask you about rehab, because I've been to rehab twice, detox.
Yeah.
What was the thing that drove you to rehab?
So
A car.
good one.
I'm a professional too. No, I'm just kidding.
That's close. I did crash my car into a pole. So
Is that
I kind of
that
wasn't the direct thing that.
What were you? Because you had said you'd gotten into drugs. That was kind of something that you were doing along with drinking. Was it because when for relatability, I moved to Oklahoma City to live with my cousin for a couple months. My cousin was doing stand up every single day. My cousin said, "Hey, you're going to these mics drunk as shit. You're running the light. You're just doing impressions.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to vouch for you for comedy." He goes, "If you can stay sober for 30 days, I will start." He's like, "You're a good comic. I know that if you actually perform sober, you're very funny. If you can stay sober for 30 days, I'll start getting you booked on real shows."
Yeah.
I made it 28 days, got hammered. And my cousin walked into the back room and he said, "What happened?" And I looked at him dead in the eyes and I go, "I don't know. I was on a plane to rehab the next day." Because I honestly had no idea how something that was so important to me as comedy is that I couldn't stay sober for 30 fucking days to do it.
Those last 2 days, like, I'm almost there.
Yeah.
Why didn't I have one drink? Why not have
Exactly.
one drink?
And so that for me, that's when I was like, oh, I have to go get help. Like something is seriously wrong.
Yeah.
So for you, what was it like? People around you? Was it you? Like what happened where you were like, oh, this is becoming an issue?
Well, I was at the time I got like really, really depressed, and I don't really show it, but like that's why like I never really had like a serious problem with drugs or alcohol. It's just like when I got super depressed, I just kind of wanted to like drown it all out.
Yeah.
So I drank constantly. I drank a lot before, but like I drank constantly, and my family started to notice. My friend, he went to rehab. We were doing a lot of drugs. My family didn't know how many drugs I was doing, but they knew that I was drinking a lot. And then we went on this vacation, and the whole way there, I was like vaping on the plane, which is not a drug. My brother saw me like vaping on the plane. He was like, "That's a problem." And then I got
that's an issue.
yeah, that's an issue. And then like we got to Florida, and I just
Gang.
Yeah, we got to Florida, Cape Coral.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad has a condo down there, which I never get to go to. But I got drunk as shit every single second of the day, and just like I would take the alcohol, and like my sister saw me like drinking tequila straight out of a bottle, like which I do all the time. But like this is the first time my family saw me. Like, the first time I didn't give a shit about hiding it. You know, like I just stopped hiding it. I was just like drinking in front of my family and like getting fucked up. So I got home and my parents like sat me down and kind of intervened me. And they were like,
"Yeah,
you should go to rehab." My best friend, who's like my only friend really. Well, I have two friends, but like he went to rehab, and I was like, I told him I'd go to, but I didn't. And so I was like, I probably should go. So I went to rehab.
What was that experience like? Were you in there being like, these fucking losers?
No, it was very interesting. I had no problem
the reason
stopping.
is because a lot of times, like when I got to rehab, I obviously had a real problem, and I was like, "This is bad." But I remember like some of the stories I would hear, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm not fucking this. I'm not this bad. Like you guys are nuts."
No, I felt that way too, but it was more like
I eventually became that bad though.
Yeah,
which is why I've been so. I went to rehab in 2013. I didn't get sober till 2018.
You got out, you relapsed, and
Oh yeah. I was 2 weeks away from my 1 year chip. And to your point, what you were just saying about that's 2 days away. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I made it almost a year, not even a full year. I was like, I made it almost a year. I'm fine.
Yeah.
And dude, as soon I was like Frank the Tank in Old School. As soon as it hit my lips, I was like, we're back.
Yeah. No, I know that. I know that feeling so much. That's like my constant cycle is like, I'll quit. And then 2 days before it's like my goal. I'm like, I'll start again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had no problem stopping. Like I have no problem stopping. Like the structure was easy, detox was easy. Like obviously I wanted to get fucked up, but like it didn't really bother me not to drink.
Yeah,
I wasn't. It was nice.
Did you think about it a lot? Because when I first got to rehab and you're hearing all these stories from other people, I remember being like, oh, this is like awesome. Like I'm free of this. This is so cool. It wasn't until I got out where I was like, yeah, that was fucking crazy. Like I'll drink if I want to drink. Who fucking cares?
Yeah. I don't know. When I was in there, I just liked having people around me. Like,
yeah,
I never really had like a lot of friends. I had my two friends, and we just got fucked up all the time. And, like, did coke, and then they both went to rehab, or one of them went to rehab. And I got in there. I didn't think about drinking too much because it was nice just to be around
Yeah.
people that were like going through something similar that I was going through. And it was also a very interesting experience. Like I had a really good friend in there. He was really interesting. And then I had another guy who was like this like big Italian like mobster type.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, everyone hated him except for me. He loved me. And he got kicked out because some guy was like talking shit about me and him because like I'd always hang around with him. Not because I thought I was a gangster or anything like that, just because like
Yeah,
I liked him. Like,
he's a buddy, yeah.
yeah, he was cool, but everyone else hated him because he didn't take anything seriously, and he was like very like aggressive. He had like bullet holes in his neck and shit.
Of course he did.
And at one point we were at lunch, and I was like, "This guy over here, like last night, I heard him talking shit about us because like we were like doing something with like the signatures. He like had me sign. It was like this some bullshit that we were.
Yeah,
that wasn't a big deal.
He signed you out, you signed him out,
Yeah,
whatever,
things
yeah.
like that. And before I could even finish my sentence, he was like, got up and walked up to the guy. He's like, "I'll fucking stab you in the fucking face." And the guy slapped him in the face, and they started fighting. And all the girls started crying, which I was like, "Come on." They were on the other side of the lunchroom. I was like, "Relax. You guys aren't even close to it." They were like, "What? I'm so traumatized." I'm like, "Stop making this about you. All right? What? This guy just got punched in the face."
Classic addicts.
So he got fucking kicked out. I eventually got kicked out too.
What'd you get kicked out for?
So there was this.
If you don't want to say, you don't have to say it.
It's fine. It's not a big deal. I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like there was this girl.
But
I went to detox with this girl. We became really close in detox, and then we ended up going to the same rehab. You've been in rehab. You're not supposed to talk to the girls at all.
No.
So we were sneaking notes.
Actually,
to
fun
each other,
fact: the rehab that I went to, it was co-ed at the time.
Yeah.
And they intermingled everybody because they're like, rehabilitation is for everybody. Like there is no separation.
It's a bad idea.
But then people are having sex all the time. So now because it's still around, obviously, because they're money machines. Now it is completely segregated.
Yeah, it's like a petri dish for HPV right
Dude,
there.
it was.
But no, we were passing notes between like in the library with books, and then one day I saw all the people going into the library, like the staff. Like I knew that they were like they figured it out, and so they figured out that we were like doing that. But that was after we had already like had sex, and some guy wanted to liked her, and she was like hitting on him too, but he didn't like
Love the attention.
close the deal. So like he saw us go into a room together and like knew what happened. And so he like went and snitched on us.
Oh, so that's why you got kicked out?
That's why I got kicked out.
What the fuck?
And I went to a halfway house, and to your point of like you saw people and being like, I'm not like them. I left the halfway house because this kid above me overdosed. And I called my mom. I was like, this bed belongs to someone else. Like,
Yeah.
This kid above me just overdosed on fentanyl. I'm not doing fentanyl. Like, not that I'm better than him or anything like that, but like,
Yeah, but that's
I
a
feel like
very-
I'm taking up a bed for somebody. Like,
That's a very cognizant idea to be like, I'm not. I don't
I'm
need to
not,
be-
I'm
yeah.
not there. I like doing cocaine once in a while.
Yeah.
I like doing a little bit
See, it's
a little bit of blow. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's a little tootski.
Little tootski.
It's funny because I remember because I had to go because again, I was like, I can't figure this out. But it is interesting that you say that because when I was because I lived in a halfway house for 11 months.
Yeah.
And it, like, we get guys in there for like weed, and their parents were like, you have to go live at a halfway.
Yeah.
But to your point, I'd be like, you don't need to be.
You don't need to be here.
Fucking go home.
Your parents are fucking idiots.
Go
dude.
run a hotel, dude. Like, this is crazy.
You're with
You smoked a little
literal
pot and you
crackheads.
got caught? I fucking have 2 DUIs. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. I had an interesting time in the halfway house too.
How long were you in the halfway house?
I was in there for maybe a month, like a little under a month.
Yeah.
It was
And then when you called your mom to be like, hey, this bed belongs to someone else, were they like, yeah, you're right? Like, we'll get you out of there?
Yeah.
Or were they like, no, that's what a fucking addict would say you're staying?
no, they were like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Because I told them, I was like, I'm not doing fentanyl. I'm not doing this stuff. Like, yeah, I do drugs, but like,
Not like this.
I'm
Not like
doing,
this
I'm doing
guy.
like acid and shit. Like, I'm not fucking.
You're
doing
big
fentanyl.
on the hallucinogenics.
In high school, I was.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you
huge.
sent me a couple stories that all had to do with that. I don't, because we got to have you back on, because we're about at the hour.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about these stories the next time you come on, since we
Definitely.
had so much stuff talking about the restaurant life and all that. But I do want to ask, before you get out of here, just to set it up for the next time you come, what was how did you get into psychedelics? Because I was always terrified of them, because everyone always used to say, you have to be in the right headspace to do
Yeah.
psychedelics. And I have never been in the right headspace ever a day in my life. So I always was just scared of them. And I've done heroin, and I've never done mushrooms. Like,
Yeah.
I'm scared of that stuff. So for you, what was, like, in high school, why were you like, you know what I want to do? Trip on acid.
I was super into that before I even had friends that did drugs, because I was like on my own, just like
How did you find it?
my friends. So before I had friends in my own grade, my neighbor, he was like a really good friend of mine. He was in the grade above me.
Okay.
And so I was friends with him. They loved me because I would like swear and like do fucked up shit and like yell at people. And like I was just an outrageous kid.
You're a menace. Yeah.
I was a menace. And they loved it because I was young and small. And like they would be like, Josh, go punch that guy in the stomach. And I'd be like, okay. And I'd just like go and like do some crazy shit.
I would fucking drop kick you if you did that.
Yeah, I've gotten drop kicked a couple times. Like I've gotten the shit kicked out of me many times. But yeah, they were like, they had all the drugs. They were the cool kids, like with the drugs. So
Yeah.
I was able to get drugs like really, really early. And that's one of the reasons why I got any friends in high school at all. Because my friends would be like my friend group, the reason I met them is because I went up to this kid and I was like, hey, I like your sweater. Do you want to come over to my house and do salvia tonight? And I didn't have salvia, but we went over to smoke weed. But I was,
Have you done salvia?
yeah, it's
Do you
fucking
get
terrifying.
locked into like a place forever?
Yes. It's fucking, maybe not forever. It didn't happen to me, but it does happen.
I've
It's
heard
fucking
so
terrifying.
many stories about like, yeah, I smoked salvia and I ended up like working for 5 years in like this place.
Yes.
Like, and I had a daughter and I worked on a boat and every day was the same. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's fucking terrifying.
that's so scary to me.
Or you'll be like an orange. Like you're an orange and you're
For like years. These
yeah, for
people
like
talk
years.
about.
It's nuts.
Time like stands still. And then they wake up and it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah, and you're drooling, all your friends are laughing, and everyone has the same reaction as far as I know. At least me. Is you're like, that's not, that wasn't good. So like you need a couple like days to be like, what the fuck just
That's
happened?
terrifying.
Like, it's so scary. It's
So
the scariest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
So you got into it because you knew the older kids who had drugs. And then you
Yeah.
became the older kid with the drugs
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah. I was really into like opening my mind, and then I watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and I was like, and I had my license. I was like, now I'm into opening my mind and driving my
Yeah.
car at the same time. I was super into like.
That
It's
movie
super
was so
incriminating.
detrimental for so many people.
It was detrimental for me. I was like, wait, you can take acid and drive? It's like, I love driving and I like taking
forgot.
acid.
Yeah, that scene in the desert.
I'm going to do
God.
both. It is pretty fun. It's not super unsafe unless you take a lot. I mean, maybe I should strike that from the record. Don't take acid and
All
drive.
right, well, thank you so much for coming on, Josh. No, this was fun, dude. We got to have you back on because we got to talk about acid in the woods. We got to talk about breaking and entering for weed, the mushroom story, the extortion story we still have to get
Yes.
to. So we'll talk about all that next time. Plug everything one more time. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Josh R. Royer _ on Instagram. That's my only social media. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Don't forget, Milwaukee, Chicago, we're coming in August. I'll be featuring for the great Matt Fulcher on. The special Chasing Dreams comes out September 24th. And that's it. We'll talk to y'all next week. Boom.